Break the Cycle is a national nonprofit organization that helps young survivors of dating and domestic violence between the ages of 12 and 24. Our legal services runs out of our DC office. In addition to legal services, we do policy, education and outreach, and training and technical assistance. And 1 in 3 teens experience some form of dating violence, and that's a big number. The best example I can come up with was a recent case that I had with a young lady that I'd had for 2 years. And she was a young mother, a single parent in school, really struggling. And I assisted her first to get her civil protection order, then helped her navigate the criminal process because he was arrested. Then after that, I helped her with the child support. Then after that, I helped her with the custody, and we got the final custody order last week. And at the end of that, she just gave me a hug, and she was like, I can't believe I got through all this. And that's why it kind of re-emphasized to me the importance of providing holistic services. And what was really cool was she was about to graduate, and she said she was going to go to law school. And I thought, how cool was that?
Polaris Project works on the issue of human trafficking and modern-day slavery by providing direct client services, and through our national hotline we refer survivors of human trafficking to legal services that they need. And we work both with foreign nationals and U.S. citizens, including women, children, and men. And so we work with all different types of trafficking, and so a domestic servitude case is pretty typical in the DC metro area, but we also see sex trafficking as a very common form of human trafficking that's happening in Washington, D.C. as well. We're noticing, as we're getting more and more calls and more requests for services to help human trafficking survivors, that one of their top needs is legal resources. And since we don't provide that in-house, we refer working in collaboration with pro bono attorneys to be able to provide those services for our clients. Polaris Project is very grateful and thanks the Women's Bar Association Foundation for this year's grant.
Courtneys House focuses on U.S. citizen boys, girls, and transgender who are forced into sex trafficking ages 12 to 21. And the reason why I started Courtneys House is because I'm a survivor of child sex trafficking here in the United States. And I really felt that not only were not the legal needs addressed in trafficking, but there were not enough services. So our Courtneys House, we're a one-stop shop. We actually provide training, legal assistance for referrals, pro bono attorneys as well. We train attorneys on domestic sex trafficking. We advocate for them. It's all free services at Courtneys House, so we beg appropriately for funding. And with that said, we're a one-stop shop for a reason, because many of our children are actually in juvenile detention around the country and charged with sex trafficking when they shouldn't be. So working with attorneys is not only a must, but it's definitely, as an advocate, teaching the children their rights. So I'm really excited about the WBAF grant. And what we're going to do, I think, is something that hasn't been done. Not only are we going to train guardian ad litems and attorneys to take pro bono cases, but the training will be done by survivors of sex trafficking on the specific needs of the children, and we're super excited about that.
Our Place DC is a nonprofit organization that provides legal and other social services to presently and formerly incarcerated DC women. We work both in the jails and prisons and halfway houses where women are incarcerated, and we also help women with prior criminal records in the community. I provide legal services for women who come to our office or who call or write in from prisons and jails throughout the country. And what we do is that we answer any legal question they may have, and what we tell them is to just ask any question they have, which might be even remotely legal, and if we don't know the answer, we'll try to find someone who does. Our primary areas of practice are, of course, trying to help women reunify with their families in family court, and sometimes we represent women in divorce cases as well. We help women obtain public benefits. We represent women in domestic violence court. We help them with housing issues, and any other issues that they may come in, and we may know of another organization or partner organization that might be able to help them with their issues as well. I really do want to thank the Women's Bar Foundation for your continued support of Our Place DC's legal services. Thank you very much.
DV Leap's mission is to fill a vacuum in legal advocacy for victims of abuse and their children, and that is to advocate in appeals. So when a victim loses at the trial level and needs to take the case up to an appellate court, we will represent them or we will file friend of the court briefs in support of their position. So we're really sort of the voice of victims of domestic violence at the appellate level, both in the district and other states, and also in the Supreme Court.
I'm a domestic violence survivor. I was very lucky because I was connected with DV Leap very early on in the process, actually, when I was trying to leave a very violent relationship and protect my 2 young children. DV Leap does a lot of wonderful work with women who have already been through a court process and have lost custody of their children to someone who has been abusive. I was lucky enough to have a family member know someone at DV Leap and was able to contact them early on in the process and got really wonderful support and resources from DV Leap to help me and to help my attorney as we went through the court process.
Well, we're going to continue to do what we do best, which is to provide backup support to all the local advocacy organizations who represent victims of abuse. So we do a lot of consulting with them on whether cases can be successfully appealed, and then we provide appellate advocacy for their clients if needed. And then, of course, we take appellate cases and we argue them at the appellate level. We also do trainings for lawyers and judges and advocates. And we see ourselves as sort of the technical assistance expert in domestic violence litigation.
And I honestly am not sure that the result that I got in my case, where the judge did order supervised visitation for my 2 small girls, would have actually happened if I hadn't had the help that I got.
I'm very grateful to the Women's Bar Association Foundation for the support and the recognition and the platform that they're giving to all of us who try to help women and children.